Welcome back to more Disco Elysium. In the last episode, I was able to deduce that Ruby is hiding somewhere in here. And there is a ladder that I can climb to get up there. However, there's apparently also this sewer pipe. So I don't know. I'm going to try to go with the ladder. We'll see what happens. We'll go from there. Let's go.
A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
Assess the situation.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground? And you're 180?
190. I'm a giant.
Okay, but still, the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. Instead, what if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder? Astral projection. Be open-minded about this. Yeah, because falling from that height seems, well, splat. So don't do that. Just,
What if I don't climb? What if I just teleport?
Teleportation is not a thing.
The lieutenant stares at you stone-faced.
Even if it isn't, no one told you.
It is a thing for me. I can't remember. It's not a thing.
That's not how physics work, detective. And even if it were, wouldn't you need some kind of apparatus? A teleportation field or...
It won't hurt to try.
Oh yes, it could hurt. A lot.
So it's a savoir-faire check, 58%. I'm going to say not ready to do this yet, because I do want to check out. I'm assuming that there's 2 ways to get in there. Right, the ladder and the pipe. I don't know if you can do both, but let me assess the situation down here at the pipe.
An old pipe peeks out from beneath the rotting boards of the boardwalk. Could this be an alternative path into the Feld building? A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions. Perhaps a basement access.
Come closer and look in.
Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder.
What's in there?
At first, you can't make anything out in the darkness at all.
Okay, what else?
As your eyes adjust, you see some trash. Crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the right side.
And
nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. A syringe.
could we get into the Feld building through this pipe?
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either.
A grin flickers across his face.
However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around.
The lieutenant pushes aside the reeds and looks around.
He means the pipe must be coming from somewhere in the building. The lieutenant's face lights up. He doesn't usually notice these little things.
And it's right here, a maintenance door.
He points to a rusted metal double door on the right of the pipe, obscured by the reeds.
It's jammed shut. The subtle approach isn't going to work on this one.
Alright, so this is a physical instrument check. So I think I want to try the ladder. Sounds more exciting to try and float up there, levitate. I don't know, it could be comical. Let me check my inventory, though. 4 savoir-faire items. What do I got? I got 0 here. So I need something. Here we go. I got the glasses. What else do I got? Anything else? That's a -1. Hand-eye coordination. Not what I need. That's a minus. There's a bunch of minus for savoir-faire. Here we go, +1. Excellent. Okay, so now we're at +2 here. Let's go for it.
The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop.
83%. Let's teleport to the roof.
All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. All you need to is...
Do it.
Zoot, zap, pow, crinkle. It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Okay, well, that's impressive, but...
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
I did it, Kim. I teleported.
I just saw you climb the ladder. You just climbed it, like a regular person.
The lieutenant shouts from below. What a buzzkill. Come on, Lieutenant Kim. Come on. I teleported up here. Don't be a buzzkill.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear...
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
Okay, let me explore the roof. I remember seeing this from below, trying to figure out how to get here, so I guess there's my answer. No, where are you going? Trying to click the little circle here. The central support beam has been destroyed by artillery fire. Stones fall. It's a long way down. Very cool. Should probably get my flashlight on. Alright. What are we dealing with here? The glass is covered with grime and dust. You can barely see out. And I got a postcard, Martinez 98. Let me take a look at that. A faded picture postcard from the end of the last century shows Martinez as it was before the revolution. It's the height of summer. Rue de Saint-Ghislain is teeming with parasol-wielding bourgeoisie, and the wild pine flags buttress the walkway. Nothing is written on the back. And you know what? You know what? Because Kim was a buzzkill, I'm going to make him wait. I'm going to read one of these books in my inventory because I got to get through all of them anyway. So I've already read a bunch of these. I read this one, The Medicinal Purposes of the Pale, that absolutely wrecked my time. And then I read the Dick Mullen book. So let me just go down the line here. Let me do The Greatest Innocence. This dusty tome brings knowledge on the history of innocences. It is written by one Juan Paulo Salomão Lopes de Fuego, a masked fascist who tries to reach conclusions on which of the innocents is the coolest of the world.
The Greatest Innocence by João Paulo Salomão Lopes de Fuego. The book is large and heavy.
Crack open this immense tome.
Browsing through the various chapters, you try your best to understand the ceaseless overflow, the sprawl of names, dates, places, events historical. Most of it ends up as a twisted mass of facts inside your brain. Your educational survey is done. Did you catch any of that? No. Oh well, it's pop quiz time. Let's see what you've learned. This might take a few minutes. You ready?
Sure, why not?
That's the spirit. Here we go. Question 1. Who was the first innocence? Oh yeah, this is what I was made for.
That's so? Alright, go on, give me all the hints you got.
A pop quiz is a short examination designed to test your knowledge without any prior warning or announcement. Such exams allow the teacher to assess how thoroughly the students have retained the material at hand. Voila. Now blast that first innocence. Thanks for nothing. Dolores Day. Dolores.
So I know for sure it's not Dolores Day. I kind of have an advantage here because I went back and I edited all the previous episodes not too long ago. And before I upload anything, I always watch my own videos I always do it in like 3 or 4 times speed just to make sure that I didn't miss anything in terms of editing. So I am a little bit familiar with the lore because I've been paying attention. I know it's for sure not the Lord's Day, so the pain threshold is lying to me. So, I don't know. My gut is saying this one because they kept coming up as some of the most... Or no, it's not them, it's a person. The Pericarnassian. They keep coming up as one of the first everything, so I'm gonna go with this.
Correct. Nothing much is known about him. It's not even clear that he was a he, but Franco Negro presumed as such and called him Pius. He's depicted as a young man with molten gold pouring out of his mouth. All he spoke was gold. It's said he invented God and equality of men before God. He also introduced the gold standard as a way for measuring people's love for Aurum. As the first innocence, he declared that there should be more of those like him. It is presumed his disciples were the beginning of the Holy Party, the founding party. Question 2. Who was the strongest innocence? Easy. Everybody knows the answer to this. You, me, anybody.
Definitely not Dolores Day. I want to say Franco Negro. Sure, try again. I trust you've got my back.
An innocence is the highest category of historical personage in the world, a literal personification of history. Traditionally, an innocence, when anointed, assumes supreme rule over the Occident or the known world in general, at least the parts that matter.
Yes, so interesting, but I thought you'd give me the answer to the question.
I can do better. Okay, so commonly an innocence does not enforce his or her power through military power. This is seen as unnecessary. The innocence wins because an innocence can't help but win, for their deeds are inevitabilities. Did this help?
No.
Damn. Dolores.
So, pain threshold is trolling. I keep saying Dolores. Dolores is the one I know most about from examining that stained glass in the church. I know it's not going to be the strongest. I'm going to go with my gut, Franco Negro.
Correct. Named the innocence of militarism, he codified hereditary rule, but at the same time ended serfdom and established the Inter-Isolari Real as the global reserve currency. He also established the concept of the nation. Franco Negro attempted to solve the rising tensions between the aristocracy and bourgeoisie by building a unified society in which every man has a place and a mission, but at the same time may rise to nobility provided on the strength of his virtue. Question 3. Who was the false innocence? Got it under control. No problem. Solid on this one. It's widespread historical information.
This one, I don't know. It's not Cadra, I know that much. So it's going to be Erno or Stepan. You going to be helpful this time? I could use a hint.
Yes, there exists a group called the Founding Party, known as the Holy Party, during the time of the Pericarnassian. This, the world's oldest international organization, spends its time in search of either the re-emergence of the innocents or new members. There seems to be a mix-up with the sources. It's not my fault. At least it clearly wasn't Dolores Day. She wouldn't be false. She's beautiful.
I've heard this one before. I don't know if I've come across this name yet. Erno Pasternak. Who is the false one? So because I have not heard this one, I'm going to go with this one.
Correct. There have been a number of counter or false innocences. Some assumed to have innocentic qualities. Some who just thought so themselves. Occasionally, they have the support of a faction inside the ecclesiastic organization, and accusations of foul play have arisen.
All right. I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
The most famous and important of these was Erno Pasternak. He was into torture, despotism, hymns, cannons, and world conquest, but got defeated and humiliated by Stepan the Despicable of Kedra.
My educated guesses, I think, are paying off.
Final stretch. You've come so far and learned so much. This is the most important one. Question 4. Who was the greatest innocence? The most important of them all. The most precious to humankind.
So this one is definitely Dolores Day.
I've got it. Honest.
Okay. Are you sure this time I'll bite? Hint me.
Of course, this is my thing. The reason I exist in this world. The correct answer is Franco Negro.
You're absolutely certain of this?
0 doubts. While it was actually her.
It is her. It's Dolores Day. I know this one for sure. It's like the one I know with 100% confidence.
Correct. The Mesk might see Franco Negro as the father of nations, but as of this century, there's been a great shift in attitude. Dolores Day has become widely regarded as the greatest innocence. A most radical change to the whole fabric of the world. Everything from inter-esolary travel to the connected world to 3 consecutive scientific revolutions can be traced back to her. Every decade that passes, she seems less human somehow. And more beautiful, and more beautiful, and more beautiful. Congratulations on finishing the test. The results and your subsequent grade have been calculated. You get an A. All correct. Impressive. Oddly so. You really navigated some treacherous waters here. Well done.
Ace that. Take that, you book.
You are really just talking to yourself. It is quite silly.
Man, something's weird about this book. You should do something fun instead. Rock out. Forget about it.
Okay, I'm going to put the book away. Alright, very good. Let me continue the exploration here. This collapse nearly sealed the basement. One can barely squeeze by. Guess that's where I came from. Antiquated office furniture. Last century, maybe? Brought down and forgotten so long ago. This overturned table covered in orange mildew. Crawling with something. Oh, and there's Kim. And you know what? I'm really mad about the whole levitation thing. That he didn't believe me. He was trying to clown me. So, he's gonna keep waiting out there in the cold a little longer. I have to read another book. Because I'm getting this sense that we're reaching the end of the game. That's what I feel. I don't know if that's true or not, but I want to make sure I don't finish the game without having done a bunch of stuff. So I don't want to finish the game and have these books in my inventory that I didn't read. So let me read this one because it seems a little shorter. No, let me just tackle this. Book Hamdalman, the man from Hamdal. I know I butchered those pronunciations. Give me a break, okay? I'm trying my best. A classic. On the frontispiece, an anatomically unrealistic muscle man is reaching into a mountain stream, yearning to touch his glimmering mirror image. His eyes are full of childlike wonder. On the blood-soaked snow right next to him lie 2 giant Zweihanders.
The cover of this tattered paperback features the man from Yelmdar, standing atop a pile of bloody corpses. His 2 Zweihanders are crossed over his massive chest in a dramatic X, their blades dripping with gore.
Hell yeah.
Behind him rise the harsh, snow-capped peaks of his native Northlands. In bold red letters, the title, Hjelmdalaman, the man from Hjelmdal, unfurls like a banner. In the foreground, a nearly nude woman lies spread in supplication, her privates strategically covered by her flowing black hair.
Look at the back cover.
The back blurb reads, his latest adventure serves as the perfect introduction to the savage Hjelmdal saga. Meet man from Hjelmdal, his faithful blood brother, Tyribald, the noble Lord Hrothgar, and some of their most fearsome foes yet, for the Northlands, for Hjelmdal. Below, in smaller font, you see the parenthetical, adapted from Man from Eelndal and the Necromancer's Treasure. Man from Eelndal, Lord of Hrothgar, and Man from Eelndal, the Curse of Nacht-Hera. A brazen attempt to bilk fans for more money by splicing together old stories under a new title.
The publishers must have a dim view of their readership.
Their main concern is the continuation of the franchise, not making literary history.
Read the first couple of pages.
The story opens in media res. The man from Heimdall and his band of northern reavers are in the bowels of an ancient temple, surrounded by an army of gibbering wights, led by the deathless necromancer. One by one, the brave Northmen fall to the relentless crush of undead, only to join their number as reanimated corpses. By nightfall, only the man from Heimdall and his blood brother, noble Tyribald, are left standing against the dead horde. It is an honor to die by your side, brother, Tyribald cries, as his battle axe beheads one of their reanimated comrades.
Wow, they're in trouble now.
9, Tyribald. The man from Heimdall bellows over the army of flesh and bone. Have courage, for the Northlands. For Heimdall. He leaps to the mezzanine to face the black-eyed figure, and like a mad ice bear, whirling twin Zweihanders, Sturm and Drang, he plows through the ranks of the deathless, surrounding the necromancer. It is physically impossible for a human being to effectively dual-wield Zweihander swords in any kind of real-life combat situation. And with deadly finesse, his twin blades scissor the necromancer's head from its body. The undead legions collapse like ragdolls as the dark magic leaves them, and the two Northmen stand alone in their cursed temple, where the bodies of their lost brothers litter the floors.
Skip ahead.
A few chapters later, the man from Heimdall and Tyribald are in a completely different setting, high above an arid desert, riding a pair of griffins that always seem to appear at narratively convenient moments. This book makes a mockery of the very idea of good plotting, though something tells you coherence was never the point. The Northmen find themselves in the court of a powerful southern king, Lord Hrothgar. The old king beseeches the man from Heimdall to rid his kingdom of the Nacht-Hera, a subterranean clan of blind wizards who traded their souls for demonic powers. The man from Heimdall extracts a high price from the desperate king. He asks land for the homeless desert pygmies living exiled in the kingdom's borderlands. Hrothgar offers the hand of his eldest daughter instead, but the son of winter does not budge.
Hold on. Why is the man from Heimdall doing any of this?
What do you mean?
Why is he doing all of this?
Because the flame of justice burns bright within his chest. Because, above all, he's driven to bring honor to the name of his beloved Heimdall. Because his noble Cutlan blood lusts for glory and conquest. It cannot be denied.
Is that all?
What do you mean, is that all?
Is there anything else to his character?
He is the man from Heimdall, forged in the fury of battle. Death was his sire, and blood his dam. He had but 14 winters when he left his frigid homelands in Cutla to seek glory and honor. That is his character. He doesn't even have a real name. What is inside this man? Or is muscle and bone all he is? Hey, nothing wrong with muscle and bone. The point is, why should you care about this character? Does he have any inner conflicts? Unspoken motivation? A tragic flaw, perhaps?
Exactly. Where's the tension inside of him?
He is the wildest man alive. The only mortal strong enough to wield the twin Zweihanders, Sturm and Drang, whose names mean storm and...
Yes, I get that. He's strong and has big swords, but why should I care about his character?
What are you, a book critic?
Actually, yes, I'm a goddamn art cop.
Enough. You're ruining the pacing of the story. Now where did you leave off? Ah, yes. What pacing? You skip past a section detailing an elaborate banquet with many toasts, as well as the long and perilous journey from Hrothgar's Keep to the ancient forest of Yesdar, where our heroes infiltrate the Nachtherre's dire hall. In the center of the great hall stands a blood altar on which a pair of Nachtherre are disemboweling a shrieking peasant, an unholy rite that empowers the Nachtherre forbidden magic. As the vile ceremony ends, the sound of steel unsheathing draws the Nachtherre's attention to a pair of cloaked figures standing in the doorway. Swiftly, the visitors toss off their cloaks and unsheathe glimmering northern steel. It's the man from Heimdall and his valiant blood brother, Tyribald.
Well, yeah, who else would it be?
In an instant, the Nachtherre summon a horde of gibbering orcanoids who rush our heroes. The hall fills with the clang of blades and the screams of the dying as the floor goes slick with steaming orcanoid viscera. Oh, for fuck's sake. When the din of battle settles, only the man from Heimdall and Tyribald remain standing. Exhausted and dripping with the entrails of their foes, the two Northmen confront the foul Nachtherre. The man from Heimdall's soda-like blue eyes fill with indescribable fury. For the Northlands, he cries, rushing headlong into a desperate melee.
Cut him up. Heimdall, man.
He probably is, but you can't be sure, cause this one ends in a cliffhanger and a footnote saying, to be continued in Heimdall Man at the Gates of Tomorrow. Coming soon to your local bookstore. Considering the sheer amount of different Heimdallaman books out there, it's very unlikely you're ever gonna find the sequel. The man from Heimdall stares at you on the cover, his face fixed in grim resolve.
Okay, that was that. I'm getting a little bit worried about the time. It's already 10:10. I think Kim has waited long enough out in the cold. Let's let him in.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
Who's there?
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
Alright, let me push the doors open.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels slide open with a creak.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that.
You ready?
Yes. Time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Not running is a great way to do that.
Okay, so let me not run in here. I already ran past this part though, so hopefully that doesn't count. Old file folders in the charts. Documents silvery with mold. Actually, let me go up here. Oh no, I ran. I double clicked accidentally. Ah, well. A series of thick, dusty panes of glass. What is this? I got an inter-isolary suit jacket plus 1 suggestion. Very nice. A muted brown suit jacket, perfect for the day at the office or an evening at a cafe. The red rose at the bottom of the left breast pocket is slowly wilting. You know what? I accidentally ran. I'm just gonna run in here. In the beam of the flashlight, a crevice in the wall. Nice. Stale fabric smell and dust. No one slept here in months, maybe years. Got a revolutionary's hat. +1 to Mazovian socioeconomics, which is a thought. And Yushanka with a Mazovian logo, a pair of deer antlers on its silvery white front. Your ears feel cuddled and cared for by the state. What a sentence. Revolutionary propaganda on the bunk bed. Ancient flyers and brochures. These pots and plates are full of dust and spider webs. The same slit window that you saw from the outside. Oh, very interesting.
Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary?
Peek out.
You hear the rain's susurration across the seawater. The night shudders.
Could the killer have used this as a hideout, Kim?
It's a great place to hide, certainly. But there hasn't been anyone here in ages.
Kim, I can't see the whirling and rags. The shot didn't come from here.
Indeed. No one could get a clear view. Well, at least we've been thorough. I like thorough.
Okay, so that was one of the tasks, to investigate the 3 possible shooting locations. So I've investigated 2 out of the 3 already.
A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. The plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spider web in the lower left corner of the portrait.
Let me brush the dust off the portraits.
Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand. Grains stick into the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
It's Cross Mazov, the idol of murdering traitors.
Some radical or radicals were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
A long time ago? How long?
Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing.
He looks around.
I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted.
What's with all these secret weapon caches and secret bunkers?
We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers.
Good hiding place for someone who's up to no good.
Maybe I should move in here. Seems cozy.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case.
Could it be connected to the Mazov bust we found in the students' room?
Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff.
Could someone have stopped through here recently?
You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
He looks at the dust. Let's go. Alright, let me get out of here. Keep going. Footprints. Footprints in the sand. One of the soles appears to be worn. More worn than the other. There's something in the air. An unnatural buzzing. The tunnel collapsed. You'll have to find another way around. So Ruby's been through here. She's got that very distinct footprint we saw at the site of the hanging. And it's still following back there. It's getting louder. The buzzing sound. Like we're getting to something here.
There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
Lieutenant, do you feel something?
No. What do you mean?
A pain. A strange tingling.
I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh.
Hold on, you really don't feel anything?
No, but you are the sensitive one.
It's not a quib. The situation is dangerous.
I saw them too. Footprints with the right sole worn smooth.
Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully.
What do you mean?
Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinez. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. This part of town is a fine clockwork puzzle. Disturb its peace and it will start breaking down uncontrollably. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
We still don't know the full extent of Everard's plans. I told Joyce maybe we should see Everard again.
I leave that to your judgment. You already know what I think about cross-pollinating information like this. It's dangerous, but...
He just can't be sure. Maybe it will yield something useful.
How bad do you think things could get?
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
He smiles in the dark.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
We solved the strike deadlock by telling Joyce about the Union's plans.
I still don't think that was a good idea. But yes, our affairs with the Wildpines are in order, since she isn't in Martinez anymore.
Someone's been a very busy boy. Good on you.
What do you think is waiting for us there?
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
The lieutenant's whisper echoes down the tunnel.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
He puts his hands to his holster. There seems to be a finality to this. Like, I feel like if I step through that cavern, it's going to be a point of no return. Seems like the game is subtly hinting at that. I think I do want to go talk to Everard after having talked to Joyce, though, so I know it feels a little anticlimactic, so I'll probably fast forward my way over to Everard because it takes so long to get there. So I will meet you there momentarily. Oh no! He's gone for the day. Look! Something forgotten on the coffee table. What? I can't interact with it. Huh. I can't interact with anything here on the coffee table. Even though the thought said so. Ah, that sucks. It's probably too late. He probably left. Even Mr. Everard has to go to bed. Alright, change of plans. I'm gonna read another Man from Helmdall book. The Man from Helmdall and the Devil Woman. The frontispiece of this old paperback features a muscle man in chains, kneeling before a salacious-looking woman on a regal seat. A bonfire lies between the throne and the man, casting shadows on the wall, and the shadow of the vixen's headdress looks like a pair of demonic horns.
The edges of the pages are worn and smudged. A lot of people have read about the Devil Woman's altercations with the Helmdall Man.
Look at the back cover.
The jacket copy proclaims, Man from Helmdall returns in his most exciting adventure yet. After crashing into a strange jungle, cannibalistic natives abduct his only surviving comrade, Noble Tyribald. Before Man from Helmdall can mount a rescue, he is ambushed by a tribe of female warriors and taken to the ancient citadel of Cloud City, where a mysterious and wicked queen rules supreme. Will Man from Helmdall be able to escape his dire situation and find his missing friend?
Time to flip through the book.
You open the book to a random page. Man from Helmdall, wielding his two Zweihanders, is carving through a sea of savages, his visage fixed in grim determination. His arms, whirling like windmills, are soaked with the blood of his enemies. Mangled corpses litter the battlefield. It calls out to you. This is the spirit of Revachol.
Oh shit. Gritty and heroic.
Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as he brings glory and honor to his long-lost Helmdalla tribe. From the village of Helmdall, the ivory giant roars like an ice bear, and the winds of Gatla howl out his name.
Give me more.
Man from Helmdall rides on a gilded griffin, his golden mane billowing in the breeze. Both Zweihanders sheathed on his back. He is off to war. Will he conquer his enemies? Will he conquer himself?
Onward.
The steel muscles of Man from Helmdall gleam in the humid jungle air. Yet the man does not sweat. In meditation, his soul drifts in the frigid northlands he calls home.
Holy shit, this is so me.
A passage reads, "The man from Heimdall looks up, his eyes blue as the mountain lakes of his homeland. He rarely speaks, but now his voice booms in the darkened throne room. Do not try to sap my masculine essence, wicked temptress. Son of Heimdall will never succumb to your seductive wiles. Thine spells are no match for purity and strength of will. Brothers of Heimdall, stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible, yet mine is forged in gore and strife." Queen Lydiana just laughs, a sultry and salacious sound, then says, "I have grand plans for you, man from Heimdall." She gestures her diabolical hand toward an array of potions and unguents. "First, you shall please me. Then lead my armies against the vicious cannibals. Not a muscle moves in the face of the man from Heimdall. Yet inside, there is turmoil. This goes against all he holds sacrosanct. This is beyond primitive."
Wow, this is epic.
In the final pages, man from Heimdall mounts Galavarin, his mighty griffin, and turns his gaze to the horizon. Queen Lydiana is dead, but an army of cannibals is storming the gates, and still there's no word of trusty Tyribald. To find out what happens next, you'll have to pick up Man from Heimdall and the Three-Eyed Skull, available in fine bookstores everywhere. Spring 39.
Put the book away. Okay. So I think what I want to do is I might end the day. I might go to bed and then finish the investigation tomorrow. That way I can talk to Everett before I go in there. And then I'm also thinking that I should probably buy the last couple of things at the library. There was a couple of board games I think that I could buy. I need to sell some stuff at the pawn shop to be able to afford it, but I think I want to do all that before I go back and investigate the Feld factory further. So, why don't we go to bed? I don't think... Well, is there a time limit in this game? Like, if I get to a certain day, is it like too late or something? I hope that's not the case, but who knows? I think that is a risk I'm willing to take just so I can talk to Everett. I'm curious to see what he has to say about the whole conflict between the Union and Wild Pines. Let me get out of here. Let me head on over to the pawn shop, and then I'm gonna sell a few things. I think at this point, I don't think that I'll have any use for that broken speaker, and then also the cube, the filament. I think I can sell both of those for a lot of money. I don't think they're gonna serve any other purpose right now. Gotta put that flashlight away.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
I have something to sell.
Sure. Let me have a look.
I'll check my pockets.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Alright, let me sell these speakers. I'm gonna pawn that for 30 bucks. Why did you even buy those? These are no magic speakers. These are lame speakers. All they will ever produce is a faint memory of the song you're trying to listen to. Sell them for cash. Okay. And then the filament. The cube-like crisscross of filament feels oddly fragile in your hand. Its intricate structure covered in dust. Silver tape on the side reads production schedule. This filament contains information that can be read using a radio computer. I'm gonna pawn that. Okay, good. Really not anything else worth pawning. Maybe the antique gun, but I think that might still come into use, so I'm not going to sell that. I don't have anything to sell at the moment.
Another time, perhaps.
I have other business to take care of now. Okay, so now I got some money. I can finish buying out all the items in the library. But of course the library is going to be closed, so I'm going to go to bed. Let me go here, and then let me go to the fisherman's shacks. Go to bed.
It's getting late, and it's raining. Time to call it a day.
Good night, Kim.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
I feel like I'm breaking the immersion a little bit, because if I'm down there chasing Ruby and I'm making all this ruckus, she probably knows we're in there. And now I'm going to bed, giving her plenty of time to escape and leave. But I'm just going to go to bed here. If the game, like, if I get a game over or something because I took too long, I'm going to be devastated. But it's a risk I'm willing to take just to talk to Everett. Let's go.
The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest.
Go to sleep.
The place feels almost like home now. Quiet and dignified around you. A new life by the seaside. You're incredibly tired. The darkness and warmth come fast. You're falling asleep.
It's easier this time. Drifting off, your head has found a comfortable indent in the pillow. Your legs and your torso feel like lead weights sinking to the bottom of the sea until there's suddenly light.
Sing along in silent communion.
Blackness, blackness, blackness. The ultimate disco. The ruins of your life behind you. Still smoldering. Ashes rise. But you're not looking.
For now, a little while, you can.
Sleep without words or images.
When the pictograms and the hieroglyphs of the world return, they seem silent somehow. The alarm rings quietly too. You're ready.
Okay. Still alive. Everything looks fine. This is good. I think I'm also going to read the final book in my inventory. It's going to be a book reading episode. I'm sorry if you guys don't like that, but you can always skip around if you like to. I want to keep it contained to this. That way when I go into the next episode, it's not going to get broken up with book reading. But yeah, let me interact here with this one. A textbook for the first grade in primary school. On the cover, a humanoid teddy bear is pushing a wheelbarrow full of letters. He's not doing a good job. The letter S is dangerously dangling from the cart, while E fell a long time ago. Children should pay more attention. So it's a primer for small kids.
You hold in your hand the colorful primer. The title reads, A Primer for Small Kids. There's a bear involved.
Exactly what I need.
This book will show you the score. Get you oriented with those basic concepts you appear to be hazy on. The anthropomorphic bear will give you the lowdown of your life.
On what?
The alphabet.
Flip through the pages.
Every page has one word designating one letter of the alphabet with a faded illustration. Most of them are scientific and cultural principles. It goes as follows.
Let's do this.
A is for azimuth. B is for Boreas. C is for cosine. D is for diamite. E is for ellipse. F is for phlogiston. G is for gamete. H is for homeboy. I is for econ. J is for Eura. K is for collapse. L is for laudanum. M is for myriad. N is for nadir. O is for aureole. P is for perihelion.
Gonna nod stoically.
Q is for quasar. R is for rhododendron. S is for sinus. T is for tricolor. U is for ultra. V is for vector. W is for Wahrheit. X is for xylophone. Y is for Ustava. Z is for zenith.
That's it?
That's it. You know the alphabet now.
Okay. 10 XP, I'll take it. Gonna put the book away. Wow, those were actually some extremely advanced words. If the kid reads that, it's going to be a smart kid. Smart kid indeed. All right, let me get out of here. Got Kim. Good morning, Kim. Let me go back to Martinez. And then, does the library open early, or does it open at a little bit of a later time? No, it looks like it's open. So I think this is the only place left for me to buy stuff.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
I want to buy the Suzerainty game.
Wonderful choice, sir. A wholesome family game.
And I want to buy the Wirral game.
If you say so, but you better stay away from those immoral occult rituals.
Okay, let me take a look at those. A civilization building board game where you get to choose the nation and set off to colonize and exploit other cultures. A star-shaped note on the box proclaims the game now includes a completely new genocide option. Okay.
In your hands, you hold a brand new copy of the game, Suzerainty. It's snugly wrapped in a skin of plastic. The cover features a charming illustration depicting a mass of grinning laborers loading goods onto a ship, while a richly dressed administrator oversees their work. The exact location and time period are left deliberately vague, but it's clearly meant to represent the economic relationship between the Revacholian suzerainty and its many vassals.
Shake the box.
The box has a nice heft to it. You hear the rattle of individual wooden tokens and feel their weight shifting back and forth.
Ah yes, a board game with good heft to it. That's what I like.
What treasures wait in store for you? Even before you open it, you can tell that this will be a meaty game of grand strategy and complex player interactions.
Remove the plastic wrap.
The plastic wrap rips off as easily as a bodice in a tawdry historical romance.
Open the box.
There's a hiss as the lid slides off. Inside, you find a thick, full-color rulebook and more than a dozen pouches of various wooden components. Savor that new board game smell. A mix of wood, paper, and ink, all wrapped in the sweet must of cardboard.
Let me examine the components.
You open up a number of pouches containing wooden tokens. There are also several punch boards with other cardboard components that will need to be punched out before you can play.
Punch out the cardboard pieces one by one.
Each cardboard token makes a satisfying ch as you pop it out. Soon, a neat pile of cardboard coins and counters has accumulated before you.
What? You're not going to offer to let me punch any of them out?
Check out the wooden tokens.
In addition to the worker and building tokens used by each player, there are also several piles of colorful resource tokens, each representing one of the game's 4 principal resources. From the Empire of Safre, orange apricot tokens. From Ilmarat, the ancestral name of Ilmara, gray marble block tokens. From the Semenine Islands, white sacks of sugar tokens. And from Supramuindi and Sarah Maritza, magenta tokens for unprocessed cocaine leaves.
Oh, those are nice.
The lieutenant picks up a sugar token and admires it.
You hold the open game box before you.
Read the rulebook.
Welcome to Suzerainty, a game of economic strategy for the whole family. The rulebook is sumptuously illustrated and thick as a Gradian novel.
Economic strategy, more like rapacious plunder and exploitation.
The colorful illustrations depict cheerful workers picking apricots, hauling marble sculptures out of crumbling temples, and harvesting a strange magenta-leafed plant. Everyone is smiling. You begin to suspect there may be a political agenda to this so-called family game. Only one way to find out.
Keep reading.
The instructions are opaque at first and introduce many concepts you're not familiar with. Fortunately, there are many diagrams and examples throughout. You soon figure out the basic conceit. Each player represents an administrator for the suzerain of Revachol. Your objective is to increase the suzerain's wealth and renown by accumulating victory points.
How do you accumulate victory points?
That's where the suzerain's vassals come in. The game features 4 vassal nations, each one home to an economically important resource. Each turn, the player collects resources from vassals where they've placed workers. They may then rearrange their workers, fulfill contracts for coin and bonuses, or build structures back in Revachol. As you leaf through the pages, your eye catches on a sidebar labeled Advice for Beginners.
Read the advice.
Remember, there are many paths to victory in suzerainty, but successful players will find one strategy and commit to it wholeheartedly.
How is the winner determined?
The actual scoring system appears infinitely complex, with a series of tables and appendices required to compute each player's final victory point total. You skip that part for now.
Hey Kim, wanna play?
The lieutenant looks over the rulebook before he sees something that makes his eyes go wide.
Holy shit. The average playing time for this game is 1 to 6 hours. I'm not sure we can afford to set aside that kind of time for a game.
So he says, but his gaze lingers a moment longer on the rulebook than is strictly necessary. He could make time if he really wanted to.
So is this just like a time passing mechanic for the game? I kind of have to pass this white check now. Let me put the game away and check out my new suggestion clothes. I think it was one of these, right? Yeah, this jacket. Oh, that's snazzy, dude. Looking fresh. Looking fresh.
The suzerainty box is heavy and slightly awkward in your hands. You give it a light shake and feel the pieces shift around inside.
Okay, it's 8 a.m. Let's do it. Let's convince Kim to play with me.
What is detective work if not an elaborate game? You need logical inference, attention to detail, the ability to analyze your opponent's motives.
Come on, it might help us think of more creative solutions to the case.
I do feel like my thinking has become somewhat rigid. Maybe a little diversion to keep the mind limber is just what's in order.
See? He's doing the hard work himself. All he needed was a little nudge.
Alright, you've convinced me. How do we play?
I read the rules already. I'll show you.
You explain the basic setup procedures to the lieutenant, who seems to be a quick study. You each take your bag of tokens and counters and unfold the board between you. In the center is the crown of Revachol. Radiating outward are her colorful vessels, each one supplying some raw material desired by the suzerain. Apricots from Safre, archaeological treasures from Ilmarat, sugars from the Seminine Islands, and magenta cocaine from Supra Muindi and Sara Maritza. There's also a neat little log to keep track of your progress in case you need to put the game away and return to it later. The lieutenant goes first. He draws a contract card and moves several of his workers to the Safre territory of the board, and the others to the Seminine Islands.
Alright, detective, your turn.
You have a few options available to you. Will you try to fulfill contracts right away, or rearrange your workers to maximize production on future turns? Remember what the rulebook said. You'll want to choose a strategy early on and stay committed to it.
Let me go ahead and let my workers rest for a while. Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to play the long game here.
What? It's the very beginning of the game. Your workers haven't even done any work yet.
Let them rest anyway.
There's no concept of rest in suzerainty. Workers have to work. You produce a handful of archaeological treasures and a smattering of other resources. Meanwhile, the lieutenant spends 2 of his sugar and 1 of his apricot tokens to complete his contract card. He is rewarded with 4 coins and a round wooden token that he places in the center of the board.
That's a market. It's worth 2 victory points.
Hey, why don't I get one of those?
Don't worry, it was mostly just luck. You'll earn some points soon enough.
I'm gonna glower silently.
The lieutenant returns your baleful look with a satisfied grin. Come on, is that your game face? You're practically broadcasting your position to the lieutenant with that expression. Glancing over the board, you see several possible strategies. Pressing more workers into service would increase your economic output and help you to survive a possible conflict with the lieutenant. Or you could ignore your labor supply and focus on fulfilling contracts for points and resources. Those aren't your only options. You could also show your workers how much you appreciate them by investing some of that wealth in them. After all, they're the ones producing wealth for the suzerain. Well, sure, you can do that. It's just not a terribly effective strategy, but then it's up to you.
I'm gonna press more workers into service.
Using your powers of persuasion, you convince more workers to join your cause. After several turns, your worker tokens greatly outnumber the lieutenants. A vast army of expendable labor is at your command.
Gaze on your workers like a harsh but proud deity.
Too bad investing in your workers just isn't worth many points.
What do you mean?
Take a look at the scoring tables in the back.
The lieutenant turns to one of those appendices you skipped over earlier.
You see in Table 8C that investing in territorial infrastructure multiplies your final victory point total by 1, which is to say not at all. Whereas erecting monuments in Revachol gives you a multiplier of 5.
So you're saying I should treat my workers like disposable labor instead?
Yes, precisely.
Now it's the lieutenant's turn to respond. He moves aggressively onto the Safre territory. Soon, his workers are producing a steady supply of extremely valuable apricots. For several turns, you struggle to respond to the lieutenant's burgeoning apricot empire. Eventually, you relocate the majority of your workers to Supremawindi and Saramaritsa, where they begin producing a bumper crop of cocaine tokens. You draw a new contract card. According to the text, there's an aristocrat willing to trade a large supply of cocaine for a number of coins and access to a rare bonus. Amplified music worth 7 victory points.
I'm a little confused by the wording. Am I getting the 7 victory points or am I getting the cocaine?
Oh yeah, baby. Cocaine and rock music go together like cocaine and rock music. You know, this isn't unlike the situation the historical Revacholian suzerainty faced in Safre in the middle of the last century.
Tell me more.
Well, the suzerain was looking for new markets for all the cocaine it was producing, and it settled on Safre. By introducing cocaine into Safre under exclusive contract, the suzerain created an extremely valuable captive market for an extremely addictive product.
That's brilliant.
If you could somehow get the lieutenant's workers addicted to your cocaine, you could not only make them less productive, you would also force the lieutenant to pay you for your cocaine tokens each turn.
Can you even do that?
Yes, you can. It's right there in the rules. You've reached a critical strategic juncture. How do you respond to the lieutenant's aggression?
Let's definitely do this. Sorry, Kim, you're not going to like this. I'm going to introduce the lieutenant's workers to cocaine. The lieutenant's face goes stony as you take your turn. He does not appreciate you getting all of his workers addicted to cocaine.
With each passing turn, you slowly bleed the lieutenant of coins as his own workers become less productive and more dependent on your magenta cocaine tokens. As a matter of historical fact, this is almost exactly what happened in Safre. To this day, fully half of the former Safre Empire remains dependent on international aid, in exchange for a steady supply of cheap produce.
Isn't this what they did in the apricot suzerainty in real life?
More or less.
The lieutenant says, but he's thinking less about matters of historical wrongdoing than how to get out of the jam you've put him in.
Realizing victory is slipping away, the lieutenant launches a desperate gambit: protectionism. By erecting tariffs on your cocaine, he hopes to starve you out of the market at the risk of incurring the suzerain's disfavor. The end game is upon you. Do you escalate the trade war with the lieutenant in hopes of crushing him with your economic might? Or do you ignore his aggression and focus on building the mighty victory column structure in Revachol herself? Alternatively, you could throw the whole game away by trying to build a public education system for the children of your workers. The choice is yours.
So it's the end game. I've crippled Kim as much as I can. At some point, I do need to go for some sort of victory condition. So I'm going to go for Almighty Revachol.
Building the ultimate structure requires diligent economic planning, which you completely failed to do.
What? I invested early in all those workers.
Rather than build a glorious monument to Revachol's economic superiority, you have to settle for a handful of post offices and school for the blind.
Oh, come on, man.
A risky gambit, detective. Sorry it didn't pay off.
This dumb game is rigged. Rigged, I say.
Don't be a sore loser, detective. Your moves were your own. Now, let's tally up the scores, shall we?
Computing the final scores is almost a game unto itself. You each spend an inordinate amount of time making stacks of coins, consulting tables, and struggling with basic addition and multiplication. After double, then triple checking your maths, you have your final score. 15 victory points. The suzerain will not be impressed.
I've got 26 points.
He says, barely contained smile breaking out across his face. Damn it! Damn it!
Don't be glum, detective. There's always next time. Figuratively, I mean. There's no way we have time to play this game again. Now, let's clean up and get back to work.
You hold the open game box before you.
And I can't even play again. Oh well, I'm gonna put the game away. I should have won that. That's okay, we're gonna play another one. The board game Wirral. A high pastoral fantastique populaire board game illustrated with bucolic vistas and featuring odd-looking humanoid creatures. It's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement module and can't be played without the main game.
Large letters on the front form a title: Wirral. The colorful box is illustrated with bucolic vistas. The cover art also features odd-looking humanoids. Some short, some taller, some with pointy ears, others with ephemeral wings.
Examine the box.
Text underneath the title in smaller typeface reads, 3rd edition, Mega Setting Supplements module. The side panel adds, a sword and sorcery adventure board game with new maps and miniatures.
Shake the box.
Mysterious things rattle inside. What could they be? Dice? Plastic miniatures? A fantastical alternate world full of magic and wonder? None of that witless man from Heimdall, fascist dross, hidden behind faux realistic allegory. Wirral is no cliché-ridden apologia for colonial violence. Wirral is pure imagination. It's not. It's for pansies. The man from Heimdall is way more awesome.
Look at the back.
A blurb on the back reads, tired of the tedium and toil of modern life? Escape to Wirral. Leave behind Isolas and nations with their petty squabbles. Discard electricity, magnets, and boring technological widgets. Succumb to a world of high pastoral fantastique. Unleash your imagination and create an adventure of endless possibilities. Discover the terrible secret threatening Wirral. Can your band of adventurers save the world?
Yes, we're ready to take on this challenge.
Exactly. That's the spirit. All you have to do is read an intricate rulebook, study an assortment of maps, unfold the illustrated game board, and start rolling dice. In no time, You could be romping through grasslands with low-level characters, hunted by Iskala riders, or battling unspeakable monsters in endless dungeons fraught with danger and despair, conjuring up forceful magics to aid your quest. Don't forget heated arguments escalate into physical confrontation with your friends. And beer, lots of beer. And most importantly, never forget to rage quit if the dice don't go your way.
Open the box.
You pry open the box. Inside you find a folded up map, a small booklet, a 24-sided die, and a little plastic figurine.
Look at the map.
A reprint of a crude hand-drawn map. The top left corner reads, Lands of Wirral. The map features both small villages and mid-sized towns with odd names, in addition to meadows, forests, hills, lakes and seas, also with odd names. It doesn't seem to correspond with anything you've seen thus far. It's not a very helpful map.
Look at the booklet.
A quick guide to the magical races of Wirral. Create your own hero, choosing from any of these completely unique and fantastical backgrounds. The options are in order of importance. The Welkin, the Tweog, the humans, the fairy folk, and the pygmies.
Read about the Welkin.
The Welkin, tall, lithe, and graceful, with long flowing hair and pointy ears. They're known for being powerful magic users, but can also hold their own in a brawn-driven fight. The Welkin come with a variety of exciting sub-races. High Welkin, Forest Welkin, Lake Welkin, and Snow Welkin. But if you're not feeling experimental, a basic Welkin will always do.
Read about the Dweilgor.
A grand race of industrious mountain people. They're short, stout, and muscular, and enjoy digging for gold and other precious minerals. They're also well versed in the art of combat, where they prefer to use axes and hammers. The Tweog also come in a few different sub-races. Hill Tweog, Shield Tweog, and Dark Tweog.
Read about the humans.
They're just humans. What else is there to tell? They're average in all stats, and jacks of all trades.
Read about the fairy folk.
A very small race of flying people, known for being mischievous, full of trickery. They often lure people into their magical traps. There are no sub-races for the fairies.
Read about the pygmies.
The least popular of the Wirral races, the pygmies, are short, rotund, and dim-witted. Pygmies live in small villages made of shoddy wooden dwellings. They spend most of their days tilling the earth and smoking their pipes. There are no sub-races for the pygmies.
Let me look at the die.
It's made from some sort of wood and has been decorated with peculiar plant motifs. You don't know much about dice, but this one looks pretty damn fancy.
Take the die.
You place the die into your pocket. It's always good to have luck on your side.
Look at the figurine.
You see a man in ragged clothes wearing a lopsided hat and wielding some sort of a firearm.
Huh, interesting. A communard.
A what?
A communard. One of the leftist revolutionaries in the anti-centennial revolution.
What's so interesting about that?
The figurine is not a part of the real game setting. I guess someone misplaced it during the packaging process.
Does this mean we can't play?
I have a feeling the figurines are more there to set the scene than anything else.
Take the figurine.
You pick the figurine up by the base to meet your gaze. The little plastic man stares back at you, his face contorted into a disturbing shout. Then you pocket it.
Interesting, because I do have that one task to give a figurine to Dolores Day. If you remember that, she wouldn't take my headless rider one. Huh. Okay. Let me close the box.
A colorful box with the title, Wirral, in bold letters. It's a board game.
Put the box away. Okay. Let me look at my die. This basic 24-sided role-playing die can be used to get results for several dice. It's made of East Seminoese snakewood and embellished with plant motifs. It reminds you of plain and hill welkins. Note, Look at the map tab in journal to see which white checks have opened. Okay. Interesting. What a nice little figurine. A turn-of-the-century leftist revolutionary in ragged clothes. On his head lies a lopsided hat, seemingly a Ushanka. In his hand, he carries a little musket. Okay. Very good. So I wonder if I can talk to the dice maker about this dice. Let me try. It's going to be a longer episode because I'm doing a lot of kind of side tasks that are a little bit tedious as a viewer, I would imagine. Like reading the books and playing the board games. I need to get my flashlight out. Yeah, I do want to talk to the dice maker here. Just to see if she says anything about that dice.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
Doesn't look like she has anything. Let me try something. How did you become a dice maker?
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were rogue. I've grown crafty over the years.
Okay, yeah, nothing there. Nothing there at all. And then I wonder if... See, because I have that one task. Offer figurines to Dolores Day. Dolores Day was fond of figurines. She deserves more. You should offer her any and all you have one day if you meet her in person. What an odd task to give yourself, but here we are. If you meet her in person, so I don't know if I should go back to the church and try with my new figurine. Maybe not. We'll see. Let me go out here. Okay. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. I know it was a bit of a weird one. I do appreciate your patience with all of my detours, but I think there's going to be some exciting stuff happening in the next one because I'm probably going to go back to the Feld Factory after talking to Everard, of course. It was the whole reason for this detour. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time.
Thanks for stopping by the Renaissance Gaming Monastery. I hope you join our community on Discord and Twitter. These videos are produced with a lot of hard work and love. If you think they're worth $1, I'd be grateful for your contribution. You can send a thanks donation or become a member on YouTube. You can also support through PayPal, Patreon, or even with cryptocurrency. All links are in the description. See you on the next video.